Good morning, I'm Janis. I'm here from a company called Construction Crew, and we are specialists in building and maintaining these beautiful plants, which Lee was already talking about and giving you a lot of detail of how anaerobic digestion works. So I don't want to repeat anything what he already said, because he was spot on with explanation on how the biogas industry works. So we looking after the technical part of the anaerobic digestion plant. And yes, they are getting older. There is many plants which are older than 20 years, and they're all suffering with lots of technical issues, and they need upgrading and looking after so they can run smoothly and produce biomethane, which we can then provide to people in the UK. And technical maintenance, many customers are looking into on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis. Somebody's coming into looking after their plants. But there's customers also who don't look after their plants, and then they start to suffer big problems, and they only look into problems when they appear. So, yeah, now many plants are suffering, but we are there, and that's why we're getting lots of inquiries to come out and help them to get them back to the running levels where they can produce the gas which they're expecting to produce. And yeah, that's the reality of where biogas plants are at the moment.
Do you see that as an opportunity or a risk for the sector?
It's opportunity for us. It's a risk for customers. It's 50-50. But if customers are more looking into their plants and we can come and help them, then we can levelize that level where the risks are lower and opportunities are lower. So basically help each other to make sure those plants are running smooth.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Matthew McDowell here. So I've worked in operations in biogas about through technical for 12 plus years. So an answer to your question, yes, absolutely. I've been on the front line of those sorts of concerns from operations. So I had to deal with planning officers who were dealing with complaints from neighbours, strange smells that didn't exist sometimes, or strange smells that did exist. The finger was being pointed at this strange-looking dome in the horizon. So first and foremost, I think as an industry, where we place value is really important, and community relationships should be central to how we behave as an industry. We live in a society where people have got freedom and have got democracy, and therefore have got a say. So the structures are in place, right from families, neighbourhoods, to parish councils, to local county councils, and further up. So we must be respectful of that, and also we must be able to place ourselves in a position where we're able to address issues like odour. Is odour the main concern? I would say it's right up there with things like transport and just environmental impact in general. So, I mentioned about the landscape. What is this industrial looking thing that's now outside my kitchen window? And Lee mentioned earlier the need for land for digestive. So the sites themselves are located in rural, sometimes semi-rural locations where there's land available. Also, there's sensitive receptors and residential areas. And we do need to be mindful that spaces like that are becoming more and more scarce and more protected as the population grows. So yes, odour is right up there with one of the biggest concerns in anaerobic digestion.
Great. And you mentioned that all of the different biogas plants across the country, they're very different. Is there a standardised approach that can be applied across plants when it comes to odor control and management?
Yes, so Janis was talking about some sites that are 20 plus years old. Relatively speaking, we're still a new industry, and there was a wide range of anaerobic digester sites that were first rolled out, and certainly that is the case if you go around existing sites. But as we move forward into what you could say is the second generation of biogas sites, we now know what we're dealing with. Every site's using the same types of feedstocks. There's food waste sites, there's agricultural waste sites, there's energy crop sites, and there's hybrid sites. And as an industry as well, the Anaerobic Digestion Biogas Association is working very hard to standardise techniques, operating techniques. How does that translate to odour control? We have lots of inquiries coming in, and we study the inquiries for the sites, but we have got a standardised package at Axion, and quite often it is the same products that are being selected. We have storage tanks for feedstocks that are liquid. We have buildings that are for sorting material, buildings that are for handling waste such as manures, chicken manures, and that. So yes, standardization is happening across the industry, and we're, as a company Axion, are certainly approaching our clients with that knowledge, and that's also why we're offering a lunch and learn event for basically to help our customers prolong the life of activated carbon within these odour control systems and ensure that it doesn't become an OPEX problem for them.
So it depends on your viewpoint, depends on as we've already discussed, there's a number of different types of AD. So you have food waste, and that's tackling a problem, as well as creating renewable energy. And then you have various different agricultural feeds into those facilities. So simpler recycling will do a lot to help solve the food waste problem in the UK, and also help bolster the food-based AD sector. So that will do well. We should have gone further with it, and I could waffle on for a long time about that. But I think that's a really positive move. Really, what we need for the future of AD is clarity of regulation. And what I mean by that is, at the moment, there's a subsidy available to build new facilities, but we only have clarity on that for the next few years, and then there's no clarity of anything thereafter. And so we really need to understand what's next, because from an investment standpoint, if you were to put a spade in the ground today, you might just get that subsidy, but you're in the hands of third parties who are regulatory bodies who run to the beat of their own drum. So if the EA, APHA, the permitting authorities don't get there in time, then you actually invested a load of money and won't get filled. So that's going to put a blocker on new builds for a while. But when it comes to the commodity, sorry, you asked for only one. I do apologise. I will give it over. As for the commodity, cross-border trading of biogas, opening that up and making it much easier than it is today will allow AD, or the biofuel sector, to really scale. At the moment, it's still a cottage industry, and you're not able to trade freely with the off-takers that need biogas or biofuels on a seriously large scale. And so allowing that to happen, which is underway, but allowing that to happen, we'll see demand increase, so supply will increase, and then you'll start to see a scalable model.
So one thing to change or implement? Either. So I don't think I would change a lot, but I would more implement of gaining knowledge in general public about what biogas industry is. And this is what I was working on, trying to film videos in how we build in plants, what are these plants doing, so people can better understand what biogas industry is. Because I realized if you walk just outside of this building and ask somebody on the streets, do you know what biogas is? they will ask, oh, is that the gas you fill in your car? Is that the gas goes in the balloons? No, it's something different. So in gaining that knowledge in the general public will help the industry to grow quicker, better, and also environmental agency will understand better as well what we're doing there. So I would encourage companies in the industry to talk about it more, work on marketing, show people on videos, pictures, some other way of explanation what are we doing in this industry.
Thank you. I guess to build upon what Janis and Lee has said, for me it's worth taking note. We should be encouraged that biogas and anaerobic digestion has been mentioned in Westminster. That's a big plus when our MPs are recognising its worth, and former ministers as well. But back to my earlier point about all the different levels of community and governance we have in this country. It would be good to see a streamlined policy coming from the top down, whereby food waste in particular and other organic waste, now that it's being diverted from landfill in the coming months, that will be fully implemented, that it's actually not allowed to just be composted, that there should be further segregation, and that biogas should be an adopted policy really by local councils to create a circular economy, providing fuel for their vehicles, and then whatever they need after that they buy in. So for me there's enough energy within a lot of councils, I think, to go a step further than just diverting organic waste away from landfill.
Great, thank you.
So the growth is very important, and people need to understand that back before biogas was introduced, all of the waste, food waste, was going underground in landfill. We always dug it underground, kept it there for many, many years until that started to produce gas, and then they take the gas out. But all of the waste, including non-organic waste, was always dug underground and kept there. Whereas today, anaerobic digestion industry is so unique that you take all of that food waste, separate from non-organics, put it inside a tank, blend it, produce biogas, send it into the country's national grid or network, and people receive that at home way quicker than landfill would do that. And the digester, which is inside tanks, which produce biogas, you take it out and then you can spread it all over the land and grow crop, any product that grows and uses fertilizer as a mineral. So growth is very important. It needs to go. It needs to be introduced more and more. It needs to be built more and more. All of that waste, like Lee already said, food waste is more than the plants are there that can take and deal with the product. So it's very important to keep growing the industry. And biogas industry is never going to feed the whole country of gas. That's why we have natural gas. That's why we're buying the energy from other countries. But it is important to have as an extra feed into the grid where we can turn our waste into energy and instead of buying it from elsewhere, produce ourselves. Hope that answered.
Yeah, and just to build on Janis's case for awareness, there's another pillar to growth as well. I believe so far the industry has been established on incentives. It now needs to grow on obligation. So it needs to grow on obligation on energy users, really, to have a chance of moving away from subsidies. And we're seeing this sort of policy shift in Europe, in other nations, and I do believe that it can be effective if we put that on, particularly high energy users. If they have to have, especially with heat, a proportion of their energy sourced from green gas, for example, that will help the industry continue to grow, amongst other things such as we can't put organic waste into landfill anymore. that's all an obligation as well. So we're moving away from an incentive-only approach to a bit of both, probably leaning more towards obligation and private agreements between suppliers and users. We're going to see lots of sites exporting gas on wheels, either liquefied or compressed. That's already starting to happen, and that will contribute to growth, in my opinion.
Later on, we're all incentivized to produce biogas. So a lot of us now are putting in biogas into the grid. That's not the same across Europe. So Germany at the moment is almost all electricity to grid, very little biogas. But if we look into the future, there's three major transport sectors that need to move to renewable energy. So if we look at those one by one, the maritime industry at the moment is currently using what's called bunker fuel, very dirty fuel. They're mandated to move to renewable energy. Up to 80% of their fleets need to be renewable energy powered by 2050. At the moment, bio-LNG looks like it's the most viable way forward. So bio-LNG is essentially what we produce liquefied, right? So you liquefy the gas. Doing that is very expensive, but the demand is going to be huge. So I think we'll see bio-LNG in the maritime sector really driving using CH4 as a liquefied material. I think we'll also then see SAF. So at the moment, the biggest user of CO2 is the food and beverage industry. We're going to see that change. The biggest user of CO2 is going to be industrial processes, and that's going to be generating renewable fuel from CO2. We're going to see that happen over the next, I think, 7 to 10 years in my mind's eye, because for that reason, you have the aviation industry is mandated to have 70% of its fleet or 70% of its fuel needs to be renewable by 2050 also. So, and that's before we start talking about the heavy road systems. Again, LNG, CNG are going to be the ways that they move forward. Electrification is all but a niche industry for them. It's not scalable at the moment. Certainly Scania at the moment, I think around 50% of their new orders are for CNG LNG. And if you look at the German model, going back to Germany, I think 34% of their trucks are being powered by either CNG or LNG. So that it's perfectly doable, and I think we'll see that here. So that's how I see the evolution of the molecule. Now, if bio LNG is a transition fuel, it's going to be towards hydrogen. So let's say hydrogen takes off. Well, actually, what we'll do is we'll drop the carbon out of the CH4 and we'll produce hydrogen. So it could be that we end up going in that direction.
Yeah, that falls more under maintenance and service of the plant. So the life cycle is not coming to the end. It is pretty similar if you look at the car. The better you look after your car, the longer you're gonna drive and look good, and the body is gonna be in the shape where it was when it was first built. So yes, there is lots of maintenance involved. They need to sometimes change pumps, mixing systems, feeding systems. Those are the things which don't last forever, and they need to be changed, or either spare parts need to be changed, or they need to be completely changed over when they run out of being productive as the plant needs them to be. So yeah, there is no need to design a whole new plant. So what people is going to do, they're going to either extend plants, because they change from what Lee said already. Back in the day, electricity was more popular. Today, gas to grid is taken over, so that loads of plants are changing to gas to grid. So there's upgrades, new technologies coming in, but no, there's no. To answer your question, there's no new designs needed. Is all about looking after your plant and maintain it to the way it lives the longer life.
Thank you everyone for coming. Will you join me in giving a hand to our lovely panelists?